I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
This is the Jeanine Pirro Show. Now, here's Judge Jeanine Pirro.
Welcome back to the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. Joining us is the former acting director of national intelligence and now the presidential envoy for special missions. He's a great guy and he's brilliant and I love him. His name is Rick Grenell. Please join me in welcoming him to the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. You've probably seen Rick Grenell recently and in Venezuela with President Maduro. And I was so excited that we were able to get Rick on the show, folks, because I love him. I think he's fabulous. But I want you to imagine this. So President Trump comes in and he says he's going to get rid of all of the Venezuelan gangs and Maduro's all upset. They're not taking him back. And President Trump says you're going to take them back and you're going to like it. Which is what my mother used to say that to me, Rick, because I was a skinny kid and my mother had a wooden spoon. I wouldn't eat. She never hit me with it, but she'd put it down and she'd say to me, you're going to eat your dinner and you're going to like it. So Maduro doesn't want to take back his criminals. And well, who does President Trump call? He calls the presidential envoy for special missions, Rick Grenell, who not only goes there and gets Maduro to agree that they're going to take all their dirtbag criminals back, but he gives some American prisoners that Maduro locked up. I mean, talk about a double whammy. Rick Grenell, welcome. Talk to us.
Well, thank you so much, Judge. It was really an honor to represent the United States. And one of the things that I love about President Trump is that he's just about the reality, right? He deals in reality. He's a great negotiator, but he deals in the world the way it is right now. And he looks at the situation and he says, you know, we've got hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans in this country illegally. We love the legal immigration. And there's so many great Venezuelan Americans who have made really our country a better place. Mm-hmm. But there's hundreds of thousands of people who just jumped the line, came into the southern border from Venezuela. And President Trump looks at that and says, They broke the law. We got to get them out. Plus, when you look at the details, we've got a gang that is in this country called Tren de Aragua, and they're a violent gang that is a serious threat to the safety of our citizens. And so President Trump looks at these situations and he says, we got to get them out. We got to go talk to the leader of Venezuela, and we've got to get them out. Now, it's a little bit controversial to talk to the leader of Venezuela. But for President Trump, he understands what the United States needs. We have not only illegal immigration issue, but we have Americans in prison down there. And, you know, it's a very typical thing when you work in international affairs with countries like Venezuela. It's very typical for the leadership in a place like Venezuela to say, well, we're holding these Americans because they're terrorists, or they're spies. Everybody's always a spy. And what they do is they don't understand, or maybe they do understand and they're just being difficult, but they label people a spy who have maybe worked for the government, the U.S. government, or worked in the U.S. military. Mm-hmm. And so they confuse this, like, for instance, there's an individual down in Venezuela who's a former Navy SEAL, mm-hmm. who was down in Venezuela, gets picked up, and is accused of trying to kill Maduro and the vice president. Mm-hmm. President Trump loves dialogue. We saw him go to Kim Jong-un and have dialogue. I think too many people, Judge, in Washington, D.C., and in the typical foreign policy world, they believe that talking is somehow a reward. I think talking is a tactic. Yes. To get to your goal. Look what has happened in Ukraine. Our citizens have spent hundreds of billions of dollars to foment more war. And for 3.5 years, Joe Biden never picked up the phone and talked to Vladimir Putin. How do you solve problems when you don't talk? You can't talk through the New York Times. You can't give a statement to the New York Times and then think the other side understands you. Talking is a tactic. It's not weakness, it's strength.
Yes. Obviously, talking is a tactic. Donald Trump is a force to be dealt with. You are incredible and knowledgeable and know how to talk. So you come back with these prisoners. Did they even expect that was going to happen?
Well, they didn't want it to happen.
No. The prisoners, did they know?
Oh, they had no idea, Judge. Let me tell you a quick
I'd love
story.
to hear it.
So we had evidence that there were 12 Americans. And one of the things that I think people listening to us should be really proud of is there are individuals at the State Department who work very hard to understand where the Americans are around the world who are hostages. Yeah. And when these individuals, 6 individuals, Americans, got on the plane, it was a tense time, it's an emotional time. But because the information was so fresh in their mind, we had several State Department officials.
Here's John Katsimatidis Jr.
Are you paying too much for your home or business heating oil? My family owns and operates United Metro Energy, and we can offer you a lower price and better service right now. No other heating oil company can match our tremendous buying power. We own our own refinery, our own storage tanks, and the largest fleet of company-owned trucks.
We get a 20-cent a gallon tax credit with United Metro Energy's biofuel.
We're a community-conscious, family-run business.
We're here for you 24/7.
Contact me anytime.
Email john@umecny.com. It's Ocean Drive in Coney Island.
Ocean Drive is the only luxury rentals in New York with a spectacular ocean view. You wake up in the morning and breathe that ocean air. I'll certify that you're going to live 10 years longer. When I became successful, I wanted to live on the ocean. If you have worked hard, you deserve an apartment on Ocean Drive too. Go to oceandrivenyc.com and reward yourself.
If you're a policeman, fireman, doctor, nurse, or teacher, you qualify for a limited time offer at oceandrivenyc.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Who really got to work. They went and carefully interviewed all 6, and they said, who else is there? What other Americans do you know when you're in prison? Give us information. You got to share this information. We, through those interviews, found 3 or 4 more Americans that we didn't know about. And so it really is good work by the State Department. But let me tell you that we asked for 6 out of the 12, knowing that was a very high number. They said no to all of them. And I just kept pushing, and I just said, look, I'm here. You're taking pictures of me here. You're using this for propaganda. We're here to talk. We want to continue talking. We want to continue sharing information. You got to give me 6. And so I waited for more than 2.5 hours at the plane that the Air Force provided for me with Air Force protection. We did this all in secret. Nobody knew. And I waited on the tarmac and just kept saying, I'm not leaving until I have 6. And we presented the evidence of 6 of the 12 that we felt were very easy to give up, that we didn't have to share information on. 6 people that they were wrong on. And so we're waiting on the tarmac 2.5 hours. We see some activity, so I walk down the plane. I'm standing at the bottom of the plane, and across the tarmac, about 12 cars come in. And they come in, and then they back into their spaces. So the headlights are looking at us. It's now starting to get dark. The headlights are shining on me, so I can't quite see. But I'm maneuvering enough and closing one eye, and so I see that individuals are getting out of each car. They start with one car. And I finally realized that out of the first car, there's an individual. And I see this person in prison garb walk to the front of the car. So I'm like, I don't know what I should do yet. They have them standing in front of the car.
Yeah.
The next one that comes out of the second car, I can clearly see has a black hood over their head. And I get outraged. And I start walking, and my security guys were like, I don't think you should walk over. I was born with a gene when it comes to my career and my work that I don't care what you say about me. It doesn't affect me. I was just born with that gene that I don't care. Now, personally in my life, I'm pretty emotional with my family and friends. I can be super empathetic. But in moments like this, God has just given me this ability to not care. And so I'm like, there's an American with a black hood over their head, surrounded by people with big guns, and he's in shackles. I'm not going to stand here. So I walk over, and they're not going to shoot a diplomat. So I walk over, and I walk straight up to these individuals. By this time, there's now 2 Americans in prison garb standing in front of me, and I say to them, I'm an American diplomat. Get on this plane. It's an American plane. Walk. And my team immediately grabs them, starts walking. But I know we've got 4 more, so I'm standing there. And the next one comes out, and it's gut-wrenching. And again, I'm not an emotional person in these situations, but for the first time in my career in 25 years, I got a little emotional. It was the best day of my career, but it was also the most intense.
Yes.
I'm standing in front of this individual who I don't know, and he's got a black hood over his head. And they take the black hood off in front of me. The first person this individual sees is me.
Yeah.
And he's squinting a little bit.
Oh, my God.
He would later tell me that he has no idea what's about to happen to him.
Yeah.
He didn't know where he was going. All he knew is that he was in handcuffs and shackles in the back of a car with a black hood over his head. And so now he's standing on the tarmac. He takes the black hood off, and he's looking at me. And I can tell that he is afraid. He's looking at me like, what's next? And I say to him quickly, I'm an American diplomat sent by Donald Trump.
Wow.
And he bursts into tears, and he hugs me. And
my God.
And a wave of emotion on me, and I just said,
of course.
Dude, you got to get on the plane. You got to get out of here. They're taking the hoods off and giving them to me. We get all 6. I count 3 times. I'm like, 6. I say to my team, did we get 6? There's no more movement in the cars. And I don't thank anybody. I just get on the plane, and I tell the pilot, let's get out of here.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
And when we took off, all 6 of those prisoners clapped. And about an hour into the flight, one looked at me, and he was very emotional. And he said to me, Mr. Ambassador, I need to know, did you exchange money or prisoners for me?
Oh.
I looked at him, and I said, no, sir, we didn't exchange anything. And he said, thank God, because I don't want anyone to go through what I just went through. And so we called President Trump, and it was an explosive conversation. President Trump just had to sit there while these guys, one guy said, every single day in prison, I wrote on my prison cell, Donald Trump for president, because I knew, Mr. President, if you won, I knew you would come get me.
We're out of time, but I must tell you, this has been one of the most fascinating and moving interviews that I've had in a long time, Rick. You are phenomenal. Rick Grenell, we thank you. I'm sure those men thank you. And one thing, are there women who are held in some of these places as well?
There is one woman who is, if I remember right, she's not a U.S. citizen, but she's got the paperwork to be a lawful resident. And she's in Venezuela. Yeah, she was one of them that we were looking at. So there's a difference between Americans and then just someone who is lawfully a resident. And usually they're lawfully residents of multiple countries.
Yes,
but our first priority is always the American citizens, those who have American passports.
Of course. Rick Grenell, thank you so much for sharing that very emotional story of getting those prisoners back, those hostages back from Venezuela. And thank you for everything you do. God bless you. And it was just an honor having you on the show. Rick, I really
Thanks, my
appreciate
friend.
it.
Thanks, my
bless.
friend.
Take care.
Larry Kudlow here with an urgent warning. While we celebrate Trump's historic win, inflation continues to drain your IRA and 401k, and China is now targeting your money with a kill shot on the dollar. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold and contacting the experts at Colonial Metals Group. Gold has protected American wealth through every financial war. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything, please go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. The experts at Colonial Metals Group are the only folks I trust to help you bulletproof your wealth with gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908 for a free 2024 gold guide to learn how you can protect your life's work, and if you qualify for a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver right now. freegoldguide.com/Kudlow.